Bruce Elwood is the founder of Kelowna Gymnastics and the Ninja Fitness Academy, bringing over 30 years of experience in gymnastics and athlete development. From competing at a high level to building successful training programs, he has dedicated his career to helping individuals develop physical confidence, skill, and lifelong movement. Today, his programs across Kelowna, West Kelowna, Vernon, and the Fraser Valley continue to shape thousands of athletes in a positive, high-energy environment. Bruce, thanks so much for being on our show.
It's great being here. It really is.
This is so amazing. You take me right to the very moment that it all started happening. How old were you? Where were you when you were introduced to gymnastics?
That's a great starting point. I was sitting in math class in grade 10, believe it or not. It was the beginning of grade 10. My math teacher said, hey, why don't you come down to the gymnastics gym and try gymnastics? And I had been in wrestling and been fairly active in sports and that sort of thing. So he said, we promise we won't laugh at you. And I went, well, nobody's going to laugh at me, right?
Yeah.
Well, they should have, right? It was an amazing coach. And in 3 short years, he was able to take me far long enough in gymnastics where I was able to compete at a college level on a scholarship. My first, real big introduction into gymnastics. And it was time where gymnastics was really changing. A lot of men's gymnastics was declining. So I was kind of like that last phase where it was still in schools, it was still in universities.
What was the moment though that you knew that I love this? I need to do something with this.
That's a loaded question. In the fact that gymnastics is such a unique activity, unique sport, in that it's so comprehensive in its development. You've got obviously strength and flexibility and the conditioning aspect, but you've also got the aerial awareness. You put all those pieces together, and it's really like nothing like any other sport. So it's very addictive. You get involved in the training and so forth, your body just craves it. I fell in love and been addicted ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Was there anything before you started the Gymnastics Center, another career path that you started following before this one came to be, or was it right out of your high school and college success with it that you started your first gymnastics center?
Yeah, well, gymnastics was great because it was a part-time job while I was going through university as I was coaching. As I finished university, a friend of mine and I were coaching in a club, and we said, either we do this full-time or we really need to get out of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were making minimum wage. And so we just said, hey, let's give it a try. So we did that. And we started with a group of about 30, 40 boys. And we had located a spot right in front of a new Costco that was opening. And it was just the ideal situation.
Yes.
So we thought, hey, if we could get a couple hundred students, we could make a go of this. And maybe we'd had part-time jobs elsewhere, but we could, continue to do this. Well, within probably 4 or 5 months, we had 400 students. And within a year, we had 800 students. And so the thing just snowballed. So here I was in my 20s, not knowing anything about business, really, overseeing 22 staff, this rapidly growing enterprise. So it was learning by fire, kind of, yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in this week to our Journeys of Success podcast. The best way that you can help us out if you're enjoying this content is please like and subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share it with friends and family or social media. Help us get the word out. Were there any inner obstacles that you had to overcome in order to pull that trigger to say, yes, I'm going to take this risk on this entrepreneurial venture?
Yeah, some of that is you make some of those decisions just based on passion. You feel like it's going to work and that sort of thing. But I think that the big risk for many getting into business for the first time is just taking on the responsibility of a lease. That was the big hurdle for us. It was like, okay, we're responsible for this for 5 years, whether it succeeds or not.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, even to this day, I think that's always in the back of my mind. It's like, are we doing okay? Cover the lease, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where we were at the right place at the right time, and just were able to capitalize on that.
Nice. And this was where?
This was in the States. I grew up in Portland, Oregon. That was my gymnastics background and so forth. And so we had that gym for about 5 years. We were able to sell that and move to Kelowna. My wife's family had started moving from Alberta and coming to Kelowna, and we just fell in love with Kelowna. So we had young kids at the time and thought, hey, it'd be great to be around family. And so we, in 1996, we made the trek to move to Kelowna.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And did you decide right away, hey, it worked so well in Portland, I'm going to open a gymnastics center in Kelowna, or did you test the waters? What did that look like?
No, that wasn't the plan at all. I had a education certificate. I was teaching high school.
Okay.
And so I thought that it would be, I knew it would be somewhat of a transition to get my certification here, but I thought that was the plan, and the difficulty was I needed to take a couple extra courses. Well, back then there was no UBCO here.
Okay.
And so for me to be able to do that, I would need to go to Vancouver. And I could do that in about 2 to 3 months, but it would require me leaving my family, moving down there, taking those 2 courses. There were no online courses, of course, at that time.
Yeah.
And so decided to stay put. And I started a small gymnastics program in Lake Country that I did for about 15 years, believe it or not, before I launched into Kelowna.
Okay.
Yeah.
This podcast is a collaboration of 3 independent filmmakers who are just really passionate about storytelling. And right now we're self-funding this. So if you'd like to help us out to tell other people's stories, please consider donation to our Ko-fi fund. And if you know someone who you think is really successful that we should showcase on one of our future episodes, send us a private message and we'll follow up with you. And who knows, maybe your favorite person in the community will be highlighted next. And we're at your Kelowna location right now. Was this the original gymnastics center location?
No, that's I guess the big backstory of my story is in 2006, I kind of had a vision of kind of replaying some of the things that we were doing in Portland, where we were looking at it kind of a family recreation center, where it would be kind of a multi-sport center along with some family recreation. And so we built the Energyplex out in McCurdy Corner. Which became, again, one of the highlights of my life and one of the low points of my life.
Okay.
In that we were building in 2006 to 2008. Kelowna was booming at the time. The price of steel at the time was going up about 20% a month because of the Olympics being built in China, Beijing.
Okay.
And so this building was taking forever to get done. We ended up opening, but we opened at 100% over budget. And you build something and you anticipate maybe 10% over budget or 20%, right? But we were 100%. And because we had some different investors, we had no bank financing, we were able to continue to function.
Okay.
But 3 months into 2008, Kelowna just sank. Everything came to pretty much a standstill. So we had 3 great months, and then we were really struggling after that. And part of it was the concept. We were marrying recreation and instruction. And we were kind of at the north end of town. And at that time, it was difficult for a lot of families they thought traveling 15, 20 minutes north to take their kids there. But it was a great learning experience. And we managed to keep that running for about 5 years.
Okay.
Until we exited there, and my partners and I decided that we didn't want to do gymnastics or our instruction there any longer. So we brought the remnant here.
Nice.
We had about 70 students that we started with. Again, similar story, good location, timing was right, and within a few months we had 400. Within the year we had 800. It just kind of snowballed. So, but it was a painful loss through having put so much time and energy and finances into that endeavor.
Yeah, I've heard that are similar versions of that story with so many successful entrepreneurs where something didn't work out, or maybe a business venture fell completely flat, or bankruptcy, or these people still managed to somehow learn something out of that and then create something really successful. So what were the learnings that you took away from having that struggle experience?
Yeah, many,
Yeah.
many. The obvious one that so many people talk about, but we found it very much true in our experience was location. They say that's the number one rule in small business, particular, and that was really true for us. So many families just found that our location, that extra 15 minutes, was problematic. It wasn't due to our programs, our instruction, our coaches. It was too far to drive. And so we literally had, I can recall people walking in the door here and they would walk up to the counter, sign their kids up for gymnastics. They didn't even look around. They didn't look at our gym. They didn't ask any questions about our coaches, our program. They knew they wanted their kids involved, but it was simply the location that was so convenient. So that was the initial thing that we learned, that was like, oh, wow, wish we would have known that, 5-6 years ago. Then again, I think the bigger story is we've touched on something that, in many ways we feel like we're kind of a lone voice in the public square, and that is the lack of physical development that's taking place in our kids. And so that's increased our passion for this. Our passion, our focus on really developing the physical skills, physical literacy that's needed has just increased. So that initial drive caused us to look in partnership with a lot of schools. We have a strong partnership with SD23 here.
Nice.
We're in about 25 schools. We have equipment that we take to the schools in a big trailer. We set it all up in the gym. We do all the classes in parkour and gymnastics. And we're starting to see a small change in trajectory of kids' physical abilities and interest. But part of it's just the spark. We just want to create that spark in kids to really move their bodies and enjoy challenging their bodies. But it's more about the physical development and building that physical confidence in kids. That is really that springboard that takes them into better health and better enjoyment of life.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's amazing. I can feel how passionate you are about having that as part of your pillars of ensuring the health and wellness of young people. When in the journey of being in this location and things going well, do you decide, this is working out great, now why don't we look at West Kelowna, Vernon, Fraser Valley? When do you make those decisions as a business owner to expand and take on more leases and more risks?